I'm Shannon Ireland, your host of a Healthy Push podcast. I struggled with anxiety, panic disorder, and agoraphobia for 15 years. Everything used to be hard for me. Even just driving 5 minutes from my house used to feel impossible. But now I absolutely live for travel and adventure, and I experience lots of peace and joy. I've not only reclaimed my life, but I've helped hundreds of others to do the same. Here, we stop managing anxiety and instead we create a healthy relationship with it. One where you say goodbye to the anxious thoughts, symptoms, panic attacks, and fears, and you actually live your life. Forget complicated strategies, quick fixes, or the same old hacks you've heard 100 times before. Each week, I'll bring you simple, actionable advice and honest conversations that lead to real, long-term healing. You aren't just an anxious person, my friend. There are reasons why you're struggling with anxiety, and these are things you can fix and heal from. And this is where that journey begins. Welcome. You're right where you're meant to be. Hello, and welcome back to a Healthy Push podcast. So let's talk about some of the mistakes that I made in my own recovery journey. Because I think by me sharing these things, it's going to help to give you some insight and help you to have some aha moments and maybe see some of the patterns that you might be stuck in that you can't see clearly. I see this in a lot of the students that I work with. They are just so in it. They are struggling so deeply and they are trying so hard to get better, but they can't see the patterns that they're stuck in and they can't see the things that they're doing that are actually causing them to stay stuck. I look back on my own journey and of course now I'm like, why was I doing that? Like, why did I do that? But I think we just get so caught up in certain patterns and doing certain things and certain behaviors. And we sort of think like these things are helpful and they're helping us to heal, but they're actually keeping us really stuck. So, in sharing these mistakes, my hope is simple. I don't want you to feel broken. I don't want you to feel like you're doing everything wrong. I don't want you to feel behind. I just want you to feel more understood and I want you to have more clarity. And I want you to be able to move forward without things feeling so hard. If I could have sat down with somebody and just had them like hear me and sort of see the pieces and could tell me like, hey, like, do you think that this is an area that like we maybe could do things differently? Like maybe this is not as helpful as you're thinking it is. It would have changed a lot for me. So I want to go over these mistakes and please do not do the blaming, like I shouldn't be doing this or I can't believe I'm doing this. Like no blame, shame here, like just insight, aha moments, clarity, and moving forward. Okay, let's dive in. So, the first mistake that I made, which was a big one, was trying to become an expert on anxiety instead of becoming an expert on myself. And what I mean by this is I was trying all the things to really understand anxiety and go at anxiety, like the books, therapy, learning about the sensations, the symptoms, every mechanism, explanation, like every tool. And don't get me wrong, education is necessary, right? It does help. But truly, healing does not come from knowing more about anxiety. It really comes from learning how to actually allow yourself to experience anxiety. So, you might be somebody like me who is like a deep intellectualizer. I'm a thinker and I'm a problem solver. And I truly thought when I was in it and struggling, like, I can just figure this out. I give me all the things, I'll absorb all the information, I will try all the things, I will do anything. And I didn't understand that this was something that kept me so stuck because I was just consuming and having aha moments, but I really wasn't doing anything with it. Like I wasn't looking inward. I wasn't like actually taking some of the actions that I knew would be helpful. I wasn't learning like about myself and what was helpful for me and like what I could actually do to heal and to recover. So you do not heal by consuming endless information. You really heal by turning inward, looking within yourself, by learning what you need, what's helpful for you, by letting yourself feel, by actually letting yourself make space for anxiety, by letting yourself just play around, see what's helpful, see what's not helpful for you. I think there's so much out there, right? And it's so hard because we get so sucked into things and we're like, I'm going to read this. I'm going to try this. This person said to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to look at these supplements. Like there's just so much. And I think you really have to pull back and do more looking inward. You are not going to heal by becoming an expert on anxiety. You can read all the things, you can try all the things, you can try to like master and outthink anxiety. Anxiety is an emotion, right? You've got to allow yourself to feel it. And the more you do that work on learning about yourself, what's helpful for you, how to let yourself feel, that actually allows you to understand anxiety better and to let yourself feel it. But you do not heal by becoming an expert on anxiety. So please, if you're going down all those rabbit holes and you're like, I'm reading all the books, I'm signing up for all the classes, the seminars, like this person's talking about this, and I'm going to do this. And it's just going to keep you spinning your wheels. So try to pull back and learn more about yourself. Try becoming more of an expert on you than anxiety. Okay, the next mistake that I made kind of goes along with this one, but it's also a really big one, is that I was trying to force myself to do all the things. I thought the more doing equaled more healing and quicker. And I literally was trying everything. Like, I will do whatever you tell me to, right? And I think this is where exposure work often comes into play. It's talked about as being the gold standard, and there is so much helpfulness in exposure work, but it's all in the way that you approach it. And so many people, I know myself included in this, I was not approaching it in a healthy way. Like I was not doing it in a way that was healthy, that was supportive. I was just out there like white knuckling my way through shit, just forcing and pushing myself and like, you got to drive, you got to do this alone, you've got to ride as a passenger, you've got to say yes, you've got to go on the trip. And I really thought like recovery meant you just push through the fear, you do more, you face it all at once. But healing is not about forcing yourself through fear. It's really about balancing courage with care. Like it matters how you approach things because more force, more pressure only equals more anxiety. And I did not understand this. But of course, it's a pattern that I see so many people get stuck in because you really care. You really think if I force, if I push so hard, like it's going to get me there. But we don't heal through force. We don't heal through pressure. We heal through safety. So, what I learned and had to learn the hard way after years is that you can move toward the things you fear without punishing yourself along the way, like without torturing yourself. It's not about getting out there and forcing yourself. There's so much gentleness and self compassion that comes into play. And you can't allow yourself to feel like you're not going to have the capacity to feel if you're just forcing yourself. There's going to be a whole lot of white knuckling, and it's honestly just going to be a shit show. Like I lived it, I know it, and I see it time and time again with students who come to me. They're like, Shannon, I don't get it. Like, I'm doing all the things, I'm doing exposures. People, everyone has told me do exposures. And I'm like, yeah, it's because there's so much force and pressure. And of course, it doesn't feel good. Like, it is torture. And your system's already like screaming at you and overwhelmed and throwing you a ton of anxiety. So it's just adding more to the mix. So we don't heal by forcing. Okay. So less forcing, more self compassion goes a long way. Okay. Another huge mistake that I made was analyzing everything. Like I would do things, go places, have experiences, and I would do this after. Why did I panic? Why did I feel that way? What does the symptom mean? This is new. I wasn't experiencing this before. Why am I experiencing this now? What was the right thing to do? What could I have done differently? Like, why did it look that way? And I spent so much mental energy trying to solve anxiety like it was a problem that I could fix. Anxiety is not designed to be fixed. It's not designed to be solved. Like anxiety, again, it's an emotion, right? So oftentimes the most helpful response is just permission to feel it, permission to let it go wherever it goes, permission to move on without figuring it all out. This is another place that I see a lot of my students get stuck in. And this is with a lot of people who struggle with perfectionism and they're type A. And they're like, I don't understand if I could just figure this out, right? I would feel better. I would feel less anxious. I would be recovered. And I totally get it, trust me, because my brain works in this way, right? It wants to analyze, it wants to figure it out because it thinks if we figure it out, we're going to unlock it all, right? But that's just not how anxiety works. So if you're doing the things and you're like really pushing yourself, but you're doing the analyzing after or even before, you've got to learn to pull back because it's so not helpful to ask yourself, why did I panic? Why did I feel that way? Why did anxiety show up? It's like, who cares? I mean, you care because you think it's going to lead to a solution, but it doesn't. So we don't care why it showed up. Just more permission is so freaking helpful. Okay, the next one, I did not give myself grace ever for feeling anxious. I see this all the time, and this was me literally every day. I treated anxiety like it was a failure. If it showed up, I had done something wrong. I was screwed. I was broken. I was going backward, all the things. But feeling anxious is just a part of the journey, right? It's part of the process. And feeling it doesn't mean anything. It does not mean you're doing things wrong, you're incapable, you're behind, none of that stuff. It just means you're human. I look back on my journey and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how much of an asshole I was to myself. Like, I was struggling with an anxiety disorder and I was consistently telling myself, you can't feel anxious. It's not okay for you to feel anxious. You shouldn't feel anxious. I mean, I literally remember going to therapy weekly, parking my car. The drive there was so hard, but parking my car and walking to therapy and being like, why are you anxious? You shouldn't be feeling this way. You're literally going to therapy. Like, this is safe. You're okay. With everything that I did, I constantly was giving myself this message. You can't feel anxious. You shouldn't feel anxious. You're a failure if you're feeling anxious. And I just, this is one of those I look back and I'm like, why, Shannon? Like, why didn't you just say, it's okay? It makes sense that we feel anxious. So I really encourage you, like, give yourself grace. You're struggling with an anxiety disorder. You're gonna feel anxious. And like you feeling anxious is not the problem. It's okay to feel it. It's okay to experience it. It's all the stuff that comes after, right? That's problematic. It's the stories we tell ourselves. It's the analyzing. It's the meaning that we give it. It's the beating ourselves up for feeling it. It's like you are just human, okay? Let yourself feel it. All right, the next one, I tried so hard to heal perfectly. I honestly, I'm now like that I'm talking all these out loud. I'm like, my God, they are so intertwined. I think people who struggle with anxiety disorders tend to lean on that side of being like overachievers, perfectionists, like type A, people who have just really always operated in this overdrive mode. But anyway, back to this one. I I really thought if I did everything quote right, if I thought right, responded right, ate right, took the right steps, I wouldn't panic anymore. But perfection and healing do not live in the same space. It is just crazy. I look back and I'm like, why? Like, why did you think that you could do all the things right and then you would just heal? But I think this is human, right? This is so human. Our brains think this. Recovery is messy. I know that we hear this all the time, but truly, it's non-linear. Like, we can't do everything, quote, right, and just be constantly on this upward trajectory. Like, I'm healing and everything's getting better. And oh my gosh, this is great. Like, we're gonna hit bumps. We're gonna hit plateaus. Like, we're gonna have moments where we question everything and we're like, what the heck? Like, am I even healing? Is this ever gonna happen? These moments are to be expected. And again, doesn't mean anything's wrong, doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It's just a part of the process. And I have to say this, right? You can be doing everything, quote, right. And I say right in quotes because there is no right way, but you can be doing all the healthy things. You can be taking all the healthy steps and still feel anxious sometimes. And I think this is what I didn't understand. Like, even when I was taking the healthy action and I was like, I don't get it. Like, I am making space for anxiety. I am letting myself feel. I am really supporting myself. I'm really taking care of myself in a healthier way. And why do I still feel this way? Like, I shouldn't still feel anxious, right? It's all those freaking stories that we tell ourselves, all the meaning that we give to it. So we can't heal perfectly. Okay. If you're trying to heal perfectly, my God, you are just torturing yourself. Please pull back. Try to pull back. Okay, the next one, I spent a real long time chasing quick fixes. Like, any new technique, strategy, anything that promised to make anxiety disappear, I literally would have tried anything. And thank God, back when I was struggling, I think back to it and I'm like, social media wasn't really a thing. These hacky things weren't really around, like the ice cube advice and the sour gummies, like that wasn't really part of the mix, thank God, because I would have tried anything. I mean, I do remember trying some really silly stuff like drinks. I remember trying these calming gummies that were literally probably just gummy bears. Like, I would have tried anything, but quick fixes don't last. They don't do what you're wanting them to do, right? Because again, we have to work on creating a healthy relationship with anxiety. And the things that help you to do that are not hacks. They're not quick fixes. They are harder in a different way, right? But they actually, quote, work. They are more sustainable. They lead to that long term healing. So if you were just absorbing all the information, trying all the hacks, trying all the techniques, buying all the things, please allow yourself to slow down and just check in and say, hey, what are we doing here? Okay. Because being on this hamster wheel of just trying all these things and having nothing work doesn't feel good. So, what could we do instead, right? What's a healthy step that we can take right now? Not searching, Googling, looking for another fix. Okay. The next one, and I'm going to make this the last one. I feel like I could literally go on and on and on, but this one's kind of like the first one that I started with, but it's like a broader. I was white knuckling my way through life. Like, I was constantly pushing, forcing, controlling, trying to like outdo my way, power my way through fear. And I think a big realization for me was I was doing all of this to really stop myself from feeling anxious and panicking. Like, I was doing all this to resist feeling. And the more I did, the stronger I felt because anxiety really feeds on resistance. So, what I found was that I got a lot more peace and freedom when I stopped trying to, quote, win against anxiety. Like, when I stopped making it a battle between me and anxiety. I think when you're white knuckling things, you are making it such a battle between you and anxiety. You're like, I'm going to win, right? I need to do this. I need to face this. And I can't let anxiety win and I can't feel anxious and all of this. And it just creates so much freaking inner chaos and stress and overwhelm and anxiety. So, what I realized was that I really needed to just slow down. I needed to take a friggin' breather and meet myself with more self compassion and just be there for myself. And if the anxiety happened and if the panic happened, I just needed to support myself through it. Not, I got to push through. I got to make it stop. I've got to find the fix. It was just more honestly letting myself be rather than doing and being there for myself. So less white knuckling. Oh my gosh. I just think of how much stress, and we know like stress causes so many of the physical and emotional and mental sensations and symptoms and all this stuff. And when you're experiencing that much stress and overwhelm, of course you're going to feel so anxious. Of course your nervous system is going to be really heightened and on alert. And it's just so heavy, right? Like operating from that place of I got to force and do. And what you really need is more slowing down and more meeting yourself where you are and supporting yourself through those tough moments. So, with all of these things, I think the thing I really want you to recognize and hear is that healing didn't happen when I did more. Healing happened when I started doing a whole heck of a lot less. Not less in the sense of giving up, but less fighting, less pressure, less force, less of that criticism, and more kindness toward myself and more support and compassion, just more letting myself be. So if you're working so hard to recover right now and you're really struggling, I want you to hear me. You don't have to keep forcing. You don't have to force yourself through fear to prove that you're trying hard enough or that you're doing hard enough. You don't have to do things perfectly. You don't have to understand every sensation and symptom and what's going on internally to heal your relationship with anxiety. You don't have to fix anxiety before you can live your life. Oftentimes, healing really just looks like taking one small step. Sometimes it looks like freaking resting. Sometimes it just looks like letting anxiety be there while you move forward anyway. While you say yes, while you make that decision that's hard, while you do the thing and you know you're going to feel some anxiety. Things aren't always going to be so hard, okay? I know it sucks and it's the worst when things are so heavy and so hard. Things aren't always going to be this way, but I don't want you to continue to get stuck in these patterns and to make things even harder than they need to be. So if you're making one of these mistakes too, or maybe a lot of them, I don't want you to feel discouraged because these are totally normal human reactions to something that's really uncomfortable. And recovery is never about not making mistakes, right? It's really about just noticing them, noticing the patterns, and gently adjusting and allowing yourself to continue to move forward while you're supporting yourself, while you're being kind to yourself, right? While you're letting yourself be human. Okay, so I have to say here, if you have not checked out my Healthy Push coaching and community, I want you to check it out because every week I sit down with the students in my community and I teach on a topic that they vote on. And then we open it up and we have group discussion and support. And we really work through this stuff. Like we don't just talk about what's going on and the barriers and how you're stuck. We really work through it together. And the whole point of why I created this coaching and community is so that I can guide you and support you and I can expedite your healing and I can get you unstuck and like actually help you to get that long-term healing that you so want and deserve. So if you're like, I kind of see things clearly, like I know why I'm struggling. I definitely have some of these patterns and I've been working on it, but like it's just, I'm still stuck and I don't know what to do. And like it feels like I'm just so doomed. Please look at that link in the show notes. I want you to check out the community. It's so supportive. It is so helpful and can truly help to expedite your healing. So I will put that link in the show notes if you're interested. And of course, until next time, keep taking healthy action. I hope you loved this episode of A Healthy Push. If you have, I'd be so grateful if you could leave me a rating and review wherever you're listening to this podcast. This helps people to find the show and get the support they need. And if you know someone who could use a little push, be sure to share this episode with them. And for even more support, head over to ahealthypush.com for show notes and loads of tips, tools, and inspiration to help you on your recovery journey. I'll see you next week.